Okay, thanks. So, I've been working on this presentation for a while. This is class number 8. And truthfully, I've never taught this material before. And as I've said a number of times, I've done almost 1,000 of these classes, so it's kind of remarkable not to get this far. Because it's about probabilities and probable selves. And what I found was that I need to turn on my recorder.
Did we finish the list from the previous 2 weeks?
As much as we're going to.
Okay.
But I am going to go back to happy for just a minute. I'm not willing to let that one go. So last night around 1 o'clock, I was completely overwhelmed. I said, I just need to go to bed. I gave myself some dream suggestions because at night when I sleep, I can invariably get dream guidance. And sure enough, around 3 o'clock, I woke up, just put my fingers on the keyboard, and out it came. Up till then, it was so complicated, I was a little bit overwhelmed. And you're going to see why in a few minutes. So, but I think I've given us some really concrete examples and really concrete processes that we can use to take advantage of this information about probable selves and probabilities. So the first thing I want to do is take a step back and go back to our last class and go back to happy and being in the present moment. So as I mentioned, Seth and Eckhart Tolle are both take a firm position that in the moment you can neither be happy nor sad if you're in the moment point. And the moment point is extremely important because that's the point we create from. It's the now that Eckhart talks about. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that actually I agree with the three of you that being happy has to inherently be right somehow. Not a way that I exactly understand, but one of the ways that I was able to frame it was this, that when we're in this physical reality and we become happy, if we are not in a place of being connected to our heart, being connected to our spirit, then the chances are very likely that you're connected to something logical. And if you're connected to something logical, that's not a solid underpinning for happy. Whereas when you get to a happy place and you can connect with your spirit and you become heart-centered, then it's actually natural to be happy because then you're connected to your spirit. But it's a different kind of happy. It's soft. It's a soft sort of happiness versus a logical, yay, I'm the winner kind of happiness that we have in this reality. And I think that's, for at least in the short term for me, as I think about this more and more, that's the key. The key is, are we able to connect with our inner spirit? Are we able to connect with our joy? And if we are, then that's a natural part of being in the moment. Just comes with the territory. On the other hand, if we get carried away in either feeling bad or feeling good for logical reasons, then we're kind of lost. And from that place, it's hard to be in the moment and make decisions and make choices for how we're going to live our lives. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that?
Did that answer make you happy?
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just offer to you, if you'd like a distinction of terms.
Uh-huh.
From the spirit, that's happiness. In the logical stuff, that's exuberance. If you're
Exuberant.
excited or exuberated about something, that's from the brain, from the mind.
Okay.
Just a state of happiness from the spirit is, if you wanted some terms that I made up.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, the next place I want to go is, I talked I talked all the whole day Sunday about creation of worlds. And specifically what I talked about was how we create these worlds. So very quickly, we have thoughts. The thoughts are alive. The thoughts associate with each other, associate with like thoughts. They go out to their own existence, forming what I refer to as energy gestalts. And we have this supercomputer system that'll take us back to the feeling place of any subject every time. It's better than any computer that'll ever be created. It's so powerful and so exact. And so what's going on is we have a subject, we have a trigger, and the trigger is the feeling. The feeling will take us back to that organization of thoughts, which is alive and has actually gone out and gone to work for us until we come back to that subject. And then when we get back there, it's expanded that energy gestalt for us. It's expanded that platform that we're going to use. It's expanded that world that we're going to live in. And that's the point. Our thoughts create the world. Our thoughts create the world. So when you get to a different place about your thoughts, in other words, a different energy gestalt. And so let's be really clear. Let's say you have one task is driving, and you have another task, which is cooking, and another task, which is, maybe interacting with your family. Each of these is literally their own world, because each of these you make a change and tap into that thought formation that you then live out of in that experience in that moment. That's why it's so powerful as you go through your day, each time you change a segment. When you go from, say, driving your car to going into your job, on the way into your job, set your intention. When you're at your job and you're going to answer the phone, set your intention for what you're going to do when you answer the phone. Now, it's even better if you can screen your calls and know before you pick up that phone how you're going to deal with that particular call. So, in your all that isness, in your Godhood, as you make those decisions and set those intentions, the energy of the universe aligns with your intention to take you to a good place. And Reba and I almost do nothing without setting our intention first. And if you don't have a blocking belief, it is literally quite astounding how often you get exactly what you intended. So, quite remarkable. So, I want to talk about, let's say we're talking to two people. Well, do we have two worlds? Well, actually, we have three worlds. There's your world, their world, and each of them have their own world. And there's a huge gulf between those worlds. The worlds, so there's no overlap in our realities. But when you're in that conversation, what's taking place? And what's taking place is the dominant place that you go in your thoughts is what takes over that interaction. The dominant place you go in your thoughts is what takes over that interaction. So, say I'm trying to talk to Reba and Mary Lou. And I live with Reba, so when she starts talking, I'm probably paying a little bit more attention to her than I am to Mary Lou. And it would be just the opposite for Pierre. So what happens is, whatever your dominant feeling is, that's going to carry you to that energy gestalt, and that's the one you're going to live from. And once you become aware of what's going on inside of you, how you're moving between worlds, so to speak, you can then use it in powerful ways. So specifically, you would take control of the situation by saying, I'm going to talk to Reba first, and then I'm going to come back to you, Mary Lou. Or I'm going to talk to Mary Lou first, and then I'm going to come back to you, honey, or something like that. So that way, you're not splitting your energy. You can be centered in your now, in whatever it is that you're doing. Okay. Now, when we talk about, so first we're going to go over probable selves, then we're going to go over probabilities. So we have a very limited idea of our godhood. It's teeny, teeny, teeny. So I started to open it up a little by talking about the worlds that we live in. And today, I'm going to expand it quite a bit further. So, as far as we're concerned, we take one path through life. And Robert Frost talked about the path not taken when he was in the woods at night with the snow. And a very famous poem. But the truth is simply this: we take every path. From the soul level, every path is taken and explored. There are no unexplored paths. So, what happens? Well, in an instant, in an infinitesimal instant, I go in one direction, and there's another Miles that goes in the other direction, just as real as me, in a world just as real as mine. Now, at the soul level, all these get woven together. But this is very, very powerful stuff, because first we think we're limited to who's sitting here right now, and second, all that seems like, really? Are you kidding me? And in fact, Reba said that to me. I'm kind of upset. First, I'm upset that I can't be happy in my now. And second, I'm upset. And second, I'm upset that there's a whole lot of Rebas out there.
Well, my first reaction was, thank you, Reba.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of Rebas out there, and what the heck's going on? But you're closely connected to those other probable selves. At one point, up till now, you were in the same vibrational alignment with them. So you have a really close connection. And then, in the next instant, one of them is taking the other path, and you're taking this one. Now, this is the point, and this is the power. You can reconnect with them. Just create a little bit of quiet time. Try and get back to the place where the divergence took place. In other words, how were you feeling at the time? And then you can follow them down that path and see how they handled that. See what it was like for them. And one of the most powerful aspects of doing this work is, for instance, do I stay or do I go? That's a simple one. Or do I go to this college or do I go to that college? Or this school or that school? Or this experience or that experience? Or this relationship or that relationship? They're there. Because you explore them all. There's not one that you're not exploring. So you can connect with that probable self and see what it was like down that path. And what you're going to find out is how happy you are that you're taking this path. That's what you're going to find out. Do it, because it gives you clarity. It gives you a sense of purpose. And it also helps enormously because you can stop splitting your energy. You can stop wondering, well, what would it have been like there? Because you won't have to go very far down that path before you'll see exactly why you chose this path, and there was a part of you that chose that path, and it's perfect for them, just like this one's perfect for you. So this is a really powerful way to integrate yourself, so to speak. And I strongly suggest that you try it.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
You're talking of, the way you're talking right now is almost in the past, in the sense that you've made a decision and you're looking at the other probable decisions and understanding why. Can you do it before you make the decision also?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure, because it wasn't clear.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, I'm so glad you said that. So there's no time. It's all simultaneous. So it's all a matter of where you're turning your focus. And you can turn your focus there first. And I strongly suggest that you do turn your focus there first.
You mean go take that path ahead of time?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to say she's interpreting because he doesn't speak a lot of English, so if you hear her whisper a little bit.
Sorry.
No, that's good. I just want to tell you that's what she's doing,
Yeah,
interpreting for him.
Yeah, I guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's fine.
So I want to explore, I want to expand on that, or, so in this, so I realize there's no time, and yet we're completely immersed in time, so I'm going to use time references.
Sure.
So here we are in this moment now, and there's a decision to be made that could lead this way or, in that way. How do I look and see the future to decide which way to go? Which way will I be more happy?
So what you do is you take yourself and you pretend or play like you're going down that path and put yourself in those experiences and see how you feel. And from that feeling place, clarity usually comes. And you'll say, there seems like a lot of glory there, but there also seems like a lot of tension, a lot of anxiety. That's not where I want to go. Or, that feels like home to me. That feels like a heart-centered place that I can really align myself with, and that's the direction I want to go. Now, when you're young, it might go something like this. Ooh, there's a lot more money over here. And even though I think I would enjoy this more, I think I'm going to go for the money. Now, after you've had some experience, you go, money can't buy you happiness, and the things that you buy with the money won't make you happy at your work. So, and if you have a coach or a life coach, somebody that can work with you and guide you, it will make a profound difference in your life just when they ask you the questions about, well, how did this feel and how did that feel? And because in the biblical expression, why would you sell your life for a mess of pottage? Why would you sell the magnificence of who you are for money when you could be doing something that's heart-centered and in connection and in the flow with the world and with all that is? Because it just feels good every day. And the secret is this: if you can have faith and pour your heart into what you're doing, it'll carry you to amazing places. Because each instant is completely new. And so each instant countless times a second, we take a small quantum leap in the direction of the reality that we're focused on. So if you're in a heart-centered place, you're actually flowing a lot more energy, and it's taking you to the place that you want to go with your dreams far more effectively than, for instance, a little bit of money would. Now, I'm so glad you asked that question, because well, I'm going to get to an exercise in a minute, and when I do, I'll expand the exercise, because you can go back in time and change your reality by setting up experiences with an older probable self and then stepping into that experience and coaching that self. So I'll get into that in a moment. So, talking about probable selves now, and we come to a fork in the road, and at one point we're the same person, and in the next instant there's two of us taking two different forks in the road. So I want to emphasize, even though we have the same feeling tone, the same heart tone, the same vibrational tone, in very short order, we can be going down quite different paths. And second, even though at least initially you're closely connected, and so there's that vibrational bridge, they cannot insert into your reality. And you cannot insert into their reality. And in fact, nothing in the universe can insert into your reality unless you create a vibrational bridge to it and allow it to come in by thinking on it. You have to think on it. You have to create an emotional, vibrational bridge in order for it to find its way into your reality. Third, on a psychic level, at least, you are continuously aware of what they're doing as they go down the path. In other words, in a sense, you're a family. And you can also be aware of it as you align your thoughts or your feelings with them and become aware of what's going on in their reality. It's not a matter, it's always going to be a matter of choice whether or not you act on that information that comes into you through your feelings, through images, maybe you'll even hear things. But the choice and the control is yours. And fourth, if you go back to the feeling place at the point of divergence, you can realign with them and in your mind follow them down their path and see the results of the path that they took. And fifth, on some level you get information about their experiences and they get yours, and you both, though going down separate paths, can make adjustments if you choose. So the way you go through your day. And the key here is to understand that it's a choice and that you're in charge and that it's entirely up to you whether you want to take into account the feelings, the images, the information that you get in your body and in your mind as you move through your day. Now, what differentiates you from a probable you? And it's always the same thing. You are where you are, and everything else is just a probability. So the probabilities, the probable yous are someplace else in their own worlds, and you're in this world. So, again, what we have are separate worlds, which we talked about at some length on Sunday. Only in this case, it might be a little easier to grasp because in the example I explained, you go to a new segment in your day. You walk from, say, the living room where you were working on your computer or doing something with butterflies into the kitchen, and now you're going to be cooking. You've just moved from one segment, one world, into another world. And it's a little bit easier to grasp that when you split off a probable self, that they're obviously in their own world. But the key here is that they are worlds and they are separated. Now, at the soul level, these are completely integrated and they have a form and a shape and a purpose. But within our life, that's not the way we choose to live our existence. It's pretty nice to live in this totally immersive world. So, we've gotten to some very, very empowering points. First, you can not only access these other worlds, these other probable yous, but you can put them to work for you. And second, which is what I'm going to go over now, you can create an alter ego. You can create an avatar, if you will, to be your ally and aid you in navigating this reality. So, just to explore for a moment what the options are, if you create some quiet time and you want to see what these other probable selves are doing, say you chose to get married or not get married, or have a child or not have children, or you wonder if there's a you that didn't have children because you do have a child now. And if you take some time to access those other probable yous, you'll be shocked and empowered to realize what a good decision you did make, which is really helpful in stressful situations. So, just to give you an example, say you had a child, but the thought occurred to you that, wow, if I didn't have a child, my life would be a lot easier. But when you follow that path down the road, what you find is the person that you are without the child is not a person that you like very much. And the person that you became, rising up to the challenges of living your life and having a child, is a person that takes your breath away, is a person that you go, I am so glad I made this decision. I'm so glad I'm on this path. Because it made you turn inside and connect with resources inside yourself that you never would have connected with if you'd gone down the easy path. Now, another thing that happens is when you go down the hard path, when you, for instance, my first wife had Hodgkin's disease. Right after we got married, she got cancer. And it made me question everything. You know, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? So when you find yourself in these situations that are challenging, by starting to question your life and starting to question what you're doing, it becomes a really, really powerful tool for the next step in your life. Because when you ask those questions, you get clarity, and you know what you're doing, and you know where you're going, and it's a wonderful experience. And you can see clearly then how much better a person you are now, having made that choice, or maybe it was a karmic choice that was made for you because you were unaware at the time that you could give up your karma, and you then had these experiences that helped you grow. Yes, Kev?
Yeah, Elizabeth, I mean, I could do a takeoff on this on almost any part, but this one seems like one that I've been questioning with myself on and off of late. Well, ongoingly too, but, I mean, that's a way to do that. But I go back and forth between surrendering to God or our higher self or whatever, and not trying to manipulate it one way or another, as opposed to like this, where we're actually looking at, creating it ourselves. So I go back and forth between, well, do I create it myself and in partnership with God, obviously, or do I just surrender totally and let God do it and go in that direction? It's like there's some line in there. I mean, we're always, by our beliefs and stuff, we're always sort of creating it ourselves, but then again, so anyhow, I'm in a quandary between surrendering and sort of letting God do it, as opposed to me trying to do it all.
So it's a process of developing faith and trust. So specifically, what happens is this. You have to challenge yourself to ask, to connect to your inner spirit. And you have to do this over and over and over again. And as you challenge yourself to make this connection, and then, that one teeny little thing, follow it. When it says no, you go, well, I wasn't asking right, or maybe I'll ask again in a minute, or maybe I didn't phrase the question right. All of which are possibilities. I mean, this is a learning process that you go through as you're connecting with your spirit. You have to figure out how to build these bridges. Now, you can do it subconsciously. You can say, Spirit, when I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, I want you to make my little finger wiggle. You'll be amazed. Or I don't recommend you make your eye twitch.
Why?
Because, that gets a little weird. And people see your eye twitching and they're going, they're lying to me. Because they make up their own stories. But now, yeah. But one thing you can do is sit down in the quiet. Now, I always recommend leaving yourself some time, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. I'd say turn the light out if you can avoid falling asleep. And what I usually do is I put a voice-activated recorder on my chest, and then I'll actually talk about what's going on inside of me, so I can go back and review it. And then in your mind, make the decision, whatever decision you have in front of you, and follow it down that path and see what you get from it. And especially if you set yourself if you get yourself in a good feeling place and get yourself in a heart-centered place, then it becomes even more powerful and even more effective.
So I have a question that goes with his.
Sure.
So we are God. So
Right.
if we are God, then who are we surrendering to? I mean, how does all that work? That he's, I mean, that's a, you know,
So, in our conscious mind, in our conscious world, we access a little bit of information. But in our spirit, what Abraham calls the vortex, it's all there, all of it, and it's all available to us. And you're refining that every single day, every instant of your life by the experiences that you're having. You're constantly making what's inside of you better, and therefore you're constantly expanding all that is, who is you. Now, your emotions are your guidance system. So when you feel bad, it's giving you a really clear signal. All that is, you are all that is. So there is no agenda there that all that is has for you. The agenda that all that is has for you is the agenda that you have given all that is, which is what you want. Now, your feelings are telling you if you have beliefs that are blocking you from getting what you want. And that's all that's happening. It's not what all that is thinks is good for you. It's what you think is good for you, and all that is saying, delivering a feeling that feels uncomfortable, which is telling you you have beliefs, limiting beliefs that are blocking you from getting to where you want to go. Does that help?
it does, because we are all it is, but I was kind of going back to what Kev said. So then what does Kev do when he's in that quandary?
Well, I ask inside all the
Yeah.
time too.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't mean so much specifically, I sort of speaking symbolically, so what,
Right, yeah.
yeah, so does he surrender, or does he know that he's God and he did?
So what happens, okay, yeah, thank you very much, Reba. I really appreciate that, because I intended to go there and I just got lost. So what happens is, as you develop this relationship, as you develop this trust, you surrender. It just becomes a natural way, like breathing in and out. You know that whatever, it's like letting go of the oars. So you're in a flow. When you let go of the oars, it's trusting that the universe is taking you to where you want to go. So the more in alignment that you get, the more you trust who you are, the more you surrender, the more you can surrender, the more you want to surrender.
And it's really to your higher self. It's really switching from mind to that higher self, from reasoning. You know what I was thinking when he said that, and how you were saying, you know, the next few years we're going to have crazy things. We are really coming out of a box, so our mind is going to try to keep us into the paradigm that we've been. But that inner self is the thing that's pushing us to take steps that we thought we could never take, and that are leading us to what our soul's purpose is.
Exactly right.
So, but it's always our higher self. What we're surrendering, to me, when I say
Yeah.
that, I'm surrendering this brain up here that says you can't do it or you shouldn't do it because it's out of the paradigm. And then trusting the higher self that's going to take me to growth and
Yes, yeah.
expansion.
So just one teeny little nuance. Your higher self is taking you to where you want to go by the shortest possible path available to you, given the beliefs that you have.
Boy, that's a
Yeah.
tricky one.
Yeah, that's exactly
So, you know, it
Yeah.
might go over all, what they say, all over hell and creation.
That is the shortest path given your beliefs.
Yeah, and what you're actually
Beliefs, that's
doing
the-
is,
that's the key.
you're learning to give up those limiting beliefs, and
That's it.
the more you allow what's actually there to come to you, because all that's happening now is we're blocking it with those beliefs. And once we get rid of those beliefs, it gets delivered to us on a platter.
Yeah, well, that's the other factor is how to get rid of how to get rid of those beliefs.
But that's what you-
I
But that's
ask
what you
every
said,
day.
that's what you said, those, when you said you surrender, that's really how to get rid of those limiting beliefs. You know, to surrender them and
Yeah,
say
well,
there's something
sometimes-
bigger.
Well, like when I do my healing work, I'm totally that way. It's just real easy. I just get out of the way and I just
Yeah.
know what to
Right,
do all the time. But it isn't always as easy in my life.
I know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Finding your own limiting beliefs is harder than finding somebody
You're
else's.
the only one,
Really?
yeah.
Really, like that.
It is very easy to find someone else's limiting
And
beliefs.
especially when you said, when you have the feelings, and I go,
Yeah.
I got these feelings, and so I must have really, my beliefs are definitely not in the ballpark here.
So, you know,
So how do I-
Paul does a course on beliefs.
I do.
And one of the things, after I finish these first 10 basic sessions, then we're going to move on to other things. Probably the first thing I'll move on to is the 9 inner senses. And then after we go from the 9 inner senses, probably to some dream work and dream seminars, how to do that, although I'm going to briefly touch on that today. And then get into belief work. Because, look, there's only 2 things. There's only one rule. You get what you focus on. You're all that is. You flow your energy, and wherever you turn your focus, that's where your energy goes. There's no other main rule. That's it. And the second one is, in this reality, beliefs rule. So, it's all a thought. Everything is a thought. And one of the things that I'll be doing is starting to get into some belief work when we get to our future sessions. One of the nice things about the Seth material is there are literally hundreds of exercises. So we'll be exploring some of those exercises because we want to learn by experience and feeling and not by logic and words. We want to go inside ourselves to learn. So, with that,
Actually, I do have a question.
yeah,
I
Paul.
had a comment on that topic here, if I may.
Yeah,
But
well,
then I've got a
comment.
question.
Yeah.
I mean, I liken it to the body and the mind is the machine. Avatar, okay? I'm an avatar for the spirit, for my spirit. So it's just, so the surrender is for the avatar, the body, for the machine, the body and the mind, to surrender to the spirit. So that, for me, that's what the surrender is. Now, my question, totally changing subjects here. The 2 things we've talked about, that you've talked about here, are tests, if you will. One was a test to look into the past and see, did I make a right decision? Yes, you did. The other test is to look into the future to decide which path, what decision should I make. My interest, because, you know, I want to create. So, can this be used to create the future?
Well, in fact, my exercise is going to tell you exactly how to do that. And there is a touchstone, just like your emotions tell you if you're going in the right direction or not. And the touchstone is excitement. Are you excited? Do you have your passion? Because there's no stronger signal from your inner spirit that you're going in the right direction than your excitement, or your passion, or your joy. So,
Did you say you were going to talk about how, I was very interested in, I wrote it down, but I forget what you said, how you can go back in time to change your reality? Did we
Yeah.
discuss this?
No, we haven't, and I'm not sure when, I'll briefly touch on it, but I'm looking up there at the clock, and I think it's about time to take a short break, so let's take a 5-minute break here, and so about 5 of, we'll get back together and get up. And what we're gonna do is, we're gonna move into an exercise. And the exercise is going to be, now we're not actually going to do the exercise here, though I notice that people frequently do it while I'm talking. I don't have any problem with that. But we're going to do an exercise. It takes more time than we have right now, but you'll get the point. And if you want to do it briefly as we explore it, that's fine too. So, I want to give you a perspective. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be creating a self. We can call this legitimately a probable self, because you can't think of anything that isn't real. Yeah, it's my thing. I don't know what to do about it, to be honest with you.
There's a fly on the window.
So, we're creating a self that we're placing in the future that we want.
Is that your cell phone that's nearby it? My advice would be for you to turn your cell phone into airplane mode.
Ah, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you.
Might
Let's
work,
see.
depending if that's causing an interference.
When has it gone off for your mom? Do you turn that on?
I already did. Yeah. I turned it off permanently for Wednesdays.
That might
Oh,
be-
it has to do with that little wire. When you touch the wire, it got louder. That little white wire?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Oh, yeah.
That wire.
Oh, what would happen if you were able to put that on the other side where it didn't go across your body?
Oh,
In
yeah.
other words, if you put the table over there, you would.
How about if I put it here?
What are we gonna call this section on?
Technical difficulties, that's what they're
Yeah.
called.
Technical difficulties.
We'll call this, yeah, section technical difficulties.
Your other probable.
So,
He's having no trouble with my
Shakespeare would call this foist on your own petard. So I want to offer this perspective on the exercise we're about to do. We're creating a self. We are placing that probable self in the future that we want and that we are choosing. And then we're using this self, this probable self, as a lighthouse to guide us to our chosen destination. This is very powerful. So we're actually creating an ally here. So, creating a future probable you and an ally. So part one. First, identify something you would like to create. For instance, better health, more love, more money. Then imagine the attributes that you want the future probable you to have. And write them down. Write it all down. This is worth taking some time for. And so you're going to write down spiritual attributes as well as physical attributes. And as a starting point of these attributes, think of the attributes that you'll have in fifth density. So maybe you're going to be soft, but you're going to be firm because you're grounded. You want to be transparent. Maybe you want to be very intuitive. Think of the attributes that you want this avatar, this future self, to have. And after you feel comfortable with that, and you can do this as you go along. Remember, there are no rules. You're the rule maker. Then imagine some life events and watch this probable self navigating those events. They can be something that you might enjoy, that can be something that would be challenged, that you would want to see how this future self would handle it. Admire this person, this probable self that you've created. Love them and cherish them. Then as you're watching them navigate these events, wait for a break in the event or the action and step into their world and introduce yourself. And then in your mind, sit down with them. Find a comfortable place. You don't want to rush this. This is genius at work here. Find a comfortable place with them in this creation and sit down with them. Ask them their name. Maybe it's yours, but maybe it's not. Ask their advice. See what kind of advice they have for you. Ask if you can reconnect with them in the future. Ask if they would be your ally. Ask for direction in connecting with them. For instance, they may not want you to connect with them when you're upset or very emotional, or they may not care. And feel free to go back observing them in the future after reacquainting yourself with their attributes. In other words, you can do this again. You can do this now, and you can do it in another week, and yes, Paul?
Just back up and repeat the asks.
Yeah. So ask their name, ask their advice. Ask if you can reconnect with them in the future. Ask if they'll be your ally. And ask if they have any direction for you connecting with them. For instance, I'd like you to be in a good emotional place, or they might say, look, my arms are always here, they're always open, I don't care how upset you are, come to me and we'll work it out. And then after you do this once, you can do this again. In other words, you can go back to this process. Part 2. Assuming that this has been a good experience and your ally said yes, it's rare, but if your ally says no, then ask it for advice in locating your ally. And very often it'll take you right there. Or give you specific guidance about how to make that connection. Part 2, begin to connect with your ally on a regular basis around accomplishing your goal. You know, maybe it's better health, maybe it's more love. And this falls right into what Seth was talking about, with what Kath was talking about, although I do think of Kath as Seth sometimes. He's so wise.
Can you repeat that second one?
Yes, please.
Sure. Begin to connect with your ally on a regular basis about accomplishing your goal. You can do it in the moment, or I recommend do it at a regular time each day when you're relaxed and peaceful and have time. And talk to your ally about what you want and what you want to accomplish and what you want to do and where you want to go. And as I was saying along the lines that Ken said, look, I have had fantastic results in my life working with my dreams. And the reason I've had such outstanding results is I listen to my dreams. My dreams know that I honor them by changing my life and physical reality. So when I get guidance, I follow that guidance. And I don't even question it now. it's always right, and it's always helpful, and it always is a powerful gift to me. So follow the guidance from your ally, or come back and talk to it the next night and say, you know, well, that was pretty interesting, but that didn't work very well. Can we work on this again? And part 3, keep a journal of this journey and your results, and review it both weekly and monthly. So at the end of the week, if you've checked in with your ally, say you check in 5 days a week or 3 days a week, or maybe it's going really good and you check in every night. At the end of the week, take a few minutes and look at your journal and see what you've accomplished, and you'll be amazed. And the same thing on a monthly basis. In short order, it will be clear you're getting terrific guidance from your ally in moving towards your goal. And why would that be? Because your ally is where you want to be. Now, don't be afraid to change where the lighthouse is. You know, you learn every minute. So if you've gone down the path a certain ways, and you go, well, I thought that was going to be like that, but it's not really. So I either need to make a change in direction or whatever. Maybe you need to make a life change. And you'll complete with your ally. Always show it love and appreciation. I learned that from Reba. We never leave a hotel room that we don't stand there and bless it, take our energy out and put good energy in for the next people that are coming. So complete with your ally and then create another one to go to the new place that you want to go, or maybe this ally can take you there. And if any of you decide to do this and you would be willing to share your experience in the group here, I would be enormously grateful, because it's very powerful, and nothing is more powerful than your experiences. Okay, so we've now finished with probable selves, and now I'm going to talk about probabilities. So we have another way to think of probabilities, and that is, you can think of them as possibilities. What are the possibilities in front of me? Now, Seth refers to them as probabilities. So let's be clear first that all that is every probability. And every probability that we can imagine exists, if only because you just created it in the moment. There's no such thing as fiction or science fiction. It's all real, and it all gets created in some reality. So, this is the very, very important point about probabilities. You have a limited range of access to probabilities. Your range of access is determined by your feelings. Your maximum range of access is 10% of your current vibration. Now that may change as our reality changes and we move further and further into fourth density. But for now, that 10% number is pretty good. So, if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling really bad, you're quite limited in what you can access. And we all know this. When you're feeling bad, all you need is for your friend to tell you to be happy, and after they get back up off the ground, they're gonna, if you could be happy, you wouldn't need them as a friend, right? So, this is what you need to do. And keep in mind, it's impossible to force yourself to feel good. You can't. And there's another reason why we feel bad. In almost every case, we really, really want to feel bad, and we really feel like we're entitled to feel bad. And I don't want anybody messing with my feeling bad. I want to, because one of the things about feeling bad is you're accessing your power. And chances are, if you're feeling good, it's because you felt in the physical reality, you felt stymied, you felt like you couldn't be effective, you couldn't express yourself, you weren't living the life that you wanted to live. But when you feel bad, wow, you can really feel, rageful, you can feel anger. So in the first case, you feel sort of numb and dead. I can't take another bad thing. But inside yourself, you can really feel alive as you access your energy to feel anger, or feel bad. And by the way, anger is a real step up from feeling like despondent and depressed. So, this is why when you feel bad, it's impossible to force yourself to feel good. You need to step or climb your way out of the vibrational place you are to where you want to go. And you need to do it one step at a time. So this is a very powerful technique, and Reba smacks me around with this. No, she doesn't. And I'm really grateful when she does it. But the way the technique works is simply this. Ask yourself, or ask your friend, if they're, whining and complaining to you. And you can do this in a really loving way. Can you find a better feeling thought? And you may need to come back tomorrow, because they're going to tell you, and I'll get into that in a moment. But unfortunately, I've been doing this for so many years, I can always find a better feeling thought. And even though I was really enjoying being upset or depressed or angry or mad, I can climb out of it pretty quick. And this is a loop. So if you can find a better feeling thought and raise your vibration to that place, once you get there, enjoy it for a moment, and then say to yourself, well, can I find another better feeling thought? In other words, you've taken a step to raise your vibration. Now take another step to raise your vibration. And think of things that you love. Think of babies or grandchildren, or your dog or your cat, or plants, or the things that you love. Oh, that reminds me, I want to finish up a few minutes early here today. And keep following this until you get to your happy place. So keep doing this until you get to your happy place. And then once you get there, you'll be astounded that what you have access to in your thoughts. Your thoughts, because you're in a new vibrational place, the things that you have access to inside yourself, the probabilities, the possibilities, are radically different. And you might easily be able to work with your friend and say, wouldn't it be nice if? Whereas before, you're going, I wonder if I really can get a gun permit.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Now, if you can't get back to the situation without getting, and once you get in this good feeling place, then you can go back to the situation that was so upsetting to you and start to ask some questions. If you find that you still can't do that, if you get thrown off your high-flying disc or dragged into the bushes by your emotions, your emotions grab you by the neck and drag you into the bushes, then just get calm, relax, and ask your inner spirit for guidance. And say, and give it a time frame. Say, look, I'd like some guidance in the next 4 hours, or I'd like some guidance by tomorrow. And if you can relax, and this is very dependent on your ability to relax and allow your inner spirit to give you what you want, you can usually get very good guidance. And that guidance consists of clarity. This is what I don't want, this is what I do want. Now, a couple of important points. One, when you go to sleep at night, you reset your vibration. This is one of the most important attributes of sleep. So, when you wake up in the morning, you've got a clean slate. Now, you have a clean slate every instant if you have the willpower and the focus to turn your focus and hold it there where you want to go. But if you can't, when you wake up in the morning, you have a clean slate. Don't muddy it up by going back to what you were upset about the day before. Don't do that to yourself. Because it's a power. These are powerful, energetic pathways. And when we have a lot of emotion, we're creating a big pathway. And it's really easy to get back on the super highway of, I'm pissed off at
I'm
somebody.
sorry, repeat what you said. When you go to sleep, what do you tell yourself to stay in that higher vibration?
Well, when I go to sleep, I give myself a few suggestions, one of which is that I would like guidance on whatever it is that's the issue. And you do not have to remember your dreams. Just say, I want it to come to me tomorrow, sometime during the day. Earlier is better. And because we all can, I don't know if I'm cursed or blessed getting up 3 or 4 times a night and recording my dreams. I've got it down to a science now, but, some people don't want to get up. But you don't have to get up. It'll just come to you sometime in the next day. Next is, if you have, Reba and I love to do things like create these grids of beliefs. So if there's something that you want, write down some beliefs that will help empower you to get there. And then fold it up and put it in your pocket. And if you find yourself being thrown into the bushes the next day, in other words, your emotions are getting hold of you and dragged up, get out your grid and start reconnecting with your powerful beliefs that'll take you there. And if you still can't do it, we're gonna take a shortcut. You are enlightened, or you wouldn't be here. You are very enlightened. And you know the power of love. You understand the power of love. So create a symbol for that love. And rather than think about any detail whatsoever, when the subject comes up the next day, take your symbol and put it squarely on whatever the issue is. Put it on the house with the people. Put it on the person. But, for Reba, it might be a heart. For me, it might be the sun with the yellow fringe around it. But it's love. What I'm doing is, I'm not going to think about that, those details that upset me. But what I am going to do every time is I'm going to send them love. I'm going to put love on their house. I'm going to put love on them. And we're going to call that a wrap so that we can hear from our dear friends from Italy. Please, would you like to use a microphone, or you can just speak? It's up to you.
We'll just move so that people can see us and
Okay.
Buonasera, serio? O vuoi stare a piedi? Sorry, it was like an abrupt finish. So all of a sudden he's like, what, now?
You're on.
Quindi cosa vuoi dire delle cose che stanno per fare? E vuoi dirlo in inglese?
No, a me preferisco in italiano.
Oh, now all of a sudden he's tired, so he prefers to speak in Italian. I'm just gonna sit, the translator sits, right?
Thank you very much, because this evening is very interesting. I appreciated very much i suoi argomenti e quello che ci ha
The
portato.
topics and what you brought to us.
Thank you.
Ah.
Mi sento molto in sintonia, è bello presentare quello che andremo a fare dopo una serata del genere.
I feel like we're really aligned, and it's a really nice thing to be able to present after what you've already presented to us, because it's very much in alignment.
Io e Tigrilla veniamo da un luogo che si chiama Damanhur.
Tigre and I, which is me, I speak as him. We arrived from a place called Damanhur.
Io mi chiamo Ragno Lattuga.
My name is Ragno Latuga, which Ragno is spider. We have animal names and plant names, and so his animal name is Spider and his plant name is lettuce. Mine is Tigrilla, is a small South American feline, and my plant name is Gardenia.
What is the feline again?
It's called Tigrilla.
Oh, okay, Tigrilla, okay.
E siamo qui perché venerdì sera presenteremo Damanhur e presenteremo quello che sarà la possibilità di iniziare un percorso di alchimia.
So we're here because on Friday we will present what is Damanhur, and we will present the possibility of starting a new path, the path of alchemy.
Un'alchimia collegata molto alle cose che abbiamo sentito questa sera,
An alchemy that's very connected to the things that we've talked about tonight,
dove parleremo del tempo non come direzione ma come territorio dove poterci muovere liberamente,
where we will talk about time not so much as a direction but as a territory in which we can move freely.
e noi come creature temporali, quindi riprendere la nostra capacità di poter muoverci al di là del tempo, al di là dello spazio.
We as time beings who have the possibility of relearning how to be able to move beyond the constraints of space and time.
Gli aspetti che avete sentito stasera e quelli che andremo a vedere venerdì e nei giorni successivi riguardano l'alchimia della nuova era.
What we've listened to tonight and what we will continue on Friday night and into the 2-day program on Saturday and Sunday is what we call the alchemy of the new era.
Noi siamo in un momento importantissimo di passaggio per la nostra razza, per il nostro pianeta.
We're in a very important time for our race, for our entire planet.
C'è una vibrazione che sta innalzando la consapevolezza di tutti noi.
There's a vibration that's raising the level of awareness, of consciousness of all of us.
Questa è come un'onda che, se presa nel modo corretto, ci può permettere di risvegliarci alla nostra natura divina.
This is a wave that, if we learn how to catch it correctly, can help us completely awaken our divine nature.
A differenza degli anni passati, dove gli alchimisti e i ricercatori si dovevano nascondere per paura di essere tacciati come streghe, stregoni,
Different from past times where the alchemists and all of the researchers had to hide behind for fear of being labeled a witch or a warlock.
ad oggi la conoscenza invece può essere alla luce del sole
Instead, today, all of this knowledge can now be freely available.
e può essere
Condiviso.
condiviso.
I'm teaching him Italian. He was just about to say share and he couldn't think of the word in Italian. This is a good thing.
Condivisa e sperimentata insieme agli altri.
This now is knowledge that can be shared, and it can be experimented with and tried and practiced along with others.
Perché non è più tempo dell'individuo singolo,
Because it's no longer the time of the single individual.
ma è tempo dell'unione, quindi la partecipazione insieme agli altri.
Instead, it is the time of union, of practicing together with others.
Vi invito venerdì sera a venire alla presentazione
So I invite you to all come on Friday evening to the presentation.
e vi ringrazio per questa possibilità, questo tempo e questo bellissimo luogo.
And I thank you so much for this opportunity, for this time, and for this beautiful place.
E naturalmente la vostra presenza.
And thank you for your presence.
No,
I also want to add one quick thing in reality. So Ranyo and I are here I'll be here through Sunday. He's going to be here through Monday. And he is also very generously not talking about the fact that he's also an amazing healer and who will be available for people who are interested in doing pranotherapy sessions, which is slightly different from what we're used to. It's only, the whole session will probably last between 15 and 20 minutes, but it's an opportunity to really connect to an energy source that is, at least I'll speak for myself, who's a person who was a Reiki practitioner in the past, who has done many of these different things. And pranotherapy, just for me, goes beyond. For us at Damanhur, pranotherapy is our preventative therapy. We do it on a regular basis, if possible, either weekly or at minimum monthly, as a way to really prevent disease, to prevent emotional disease, physical disease, and many other, and to help direct us in many ways. Eh? Vuoi aggiungere?
Sì, solo una piccola cosa. Perché questo? Perché
He wants to add one small thing. He says, why?
il prana è l'energia vitale, è il carburante che ci permette di poter rinascere alla nostra natura divina.
This pranotherapy is the fuel that allows us to be reborn into our divine essence.
È quell'energia vitale che dà vita a tutti noi,
It's the vital energy that gives life to all of us,
a tutto il mondo,
To
a
all
tutti
of
gli
the
animali, a
world.
tutti gli alberi.
to all of the animals, to all of the trees.
Imparare però a raccoglierla e a collegarsi alla frequenza più alta possibile, quindi il prana divino,
So we need to learn how to harness it, how to collect it, and to use it to enter into our most divine, highest self. So the prana, that's what prana is for.
è quella goccia che ci permette di attivare quei nostri sensi interni, questa nostra potenzialità che ci dà la possibilità di trasformarci e aprirci alla nostra vera natura.
And when we collect this, it is like a drop that allows us to connect into all of our inner senses and allows us to really enter into and step into our true divine nature.
Perché la prima cosa che ci può aiutare a far partire qualsiasi processo alchemico
Because the first thing that we need in order to be able to start whatever type of alchemical process
è l'energia.
is energy.
Senza energia nulla si muove.
Without energy, nothing moves.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miles, too, that was
Oh, thank you.
awesome as usual.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Beautiful.